Bust. This is Expedition Trial number 241. Let's see what shows up. And so cool, not the worst little set. Of course, we won't take this Maokai. I don't really like starting with these. There's just not a good build around here, right? I've killed myself many a times trying to pull off this Maokai build around, and it just doesn't really work in Expedition. But this is one of the finest supporting card pools in the game, and so it's pretty reasonable to take second. Just not something I like to take first, because you do have to find a champion that plays extremely well with him in your second pack, and I'm just not a huge fan of rolling the dice like that. So the choice would come down to the Fishbones Fizz or the Enlightenment Trundle, and I just have a soft spot in my heart for this Fishbones Fizz, and so this is the one we're going to be taking. The Trundle is fine, but this is not a particularly good Trundle start. I don't really like these Behold cards. It's just too much of a high roll for too low payoff. A 1/3 for 2 mana just doesn't do enough for me for a unit that probably just trades off for your opponent's 2-drop. So not a huge fan of it. And then the Wolf Rider is pretty hard to activate within these Trundle style decks. It doesn't, you either have to kind of go into Bilgewater to find ways to hit your opponent directly before you attack or before you play this, or you need the Overwhelm units, which don't particularly live within this Trundle card pool. So, we're going to take this Fishbones Fizz. It's been a while since we've drafted Fizz anyways. We rarely actually build around him, but the real key to this build around is the Jagged Taskmaster. This Fishbones card pool pairs up with Jinx. It's centered on playing the 1-cost allies and then taking advantage of Taskmaster and Professor Von Yip. So, let's take a moment. We'll get him pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with the sites, ftpbus.com. We're just going to be over here in the Expedition Helper section, or whatever you want to call the main page right when it loads up. Then we'll click on the drop down, go to Fizz and Fishbones, and then this will list all of the cards that live in this card pool, along with a quick little 3-minute guide to the pool, and then what we think is important and not important in this pool. And so, there's kind of two real key things to this pool, between either building around Jagged Taskmaster or to a degree building around Professor Von Yip. The thing with building around Professor Von Yip is you don't really want to be, just playing him on the 4th turn and then just not getting any value from him. So you really need to have some kind of spells that can be generating units, be that Jailbreak or Double Trouble as your kind of premier ways out of Bilgewater, or if you're in Piltover, you have things like the 1-cost discard thing that puts the 1/1 into play, or the 2-cost spell that makes 2/1/1s. You have to have some kind of spells that generate units. Otherwise, it's just so bad to spend your 4th turn basically playing a do nothing. Right? You're never getting your Professor Von Yip into combat because you want him to just be sitting there, basically being a landmark and providing bonuses to your 1-cost units. So if we do find a Professor Von Yip or do look to build towards him, we will want to find some of these spells that generate units, the premier ones being Jailbreak or Double Trouble. The Double Trouble is the good one in the sense that you can play your Professor Von Yip, then you can have the 3 spell mana banked up, and then immediately get your 2 units of value out of it. And so we will look to this if we want to build towards Professor Von Yip, but the Jagged Taskmaster is much easier to just build around on his own. The way I typically look at these Fishbone style decks is I go out of my way to find 10 1-drops. The 10 is kind of the magic number in my eyes, but you get up to about 9 or 10, you can stop going out of your way to take them, but you have to make sure that you have the 9 or 10 or 11 1-drops for this deck to really function. Then the big thing on top of that is, if you're familiar with kind of our Twisted Fate style of decks, to where we just flood the boards with cards and then try to back ourselves up with plunders, with like Black Market Merchant and Pilfered Goods, or using things like Pool Shark and the new Bilgewater guy. His name escapes me, but the one that the 2-cost unit that comes into play, deals damage to a unit and draws a card. We're usually trying to play this kind of card quantity game and not so much card quality. Because the kind of the question that we'll run into, or the problem we'll run into, is, we have the 10 1-drops in our deck. They're quickly going to get outclassed by what our opponent's doing. What do we do if we don't draw a Taskmaster? What do we do if we don't draw Professor Von Yip? We have to have some kind of backup plan, or just general game plan to deal with having this just big pile of weaker to smaller units. And so just draw a whole bunch of cards tends to be the way to go about that, but we'll see how this plays out. I do want to go ahead and call out the the Jinx side of this as well. You do start out with guaranteed to be in Piltover since you have access to the Professor Von Yip coming from the Fizz, and so you do need to take a quick peek at what lives in the Fishbone side of Jinx. And the kind of the big thing here, the new edition of Armed Gearhead is very good. This used to only have the one drop in it, and so you were kind of stuck either just drafting Astute Academics or kind of hoping that you hit cards like Poro Cannon. Now you do have an additional way to get a one drop in Armed Gearhead, and so the Jinx side of this is a little bit better. They also added Aftershock, so you have another removal spell outside of just the Mystic Shot, and so pretty cool little pull here. It does have a lot of the removal spells in it. Scrap Dash Assembly was one of the Scrap Scuttler cards I was thinking about that plays well with Von Yip. Couldn't quite remember, but so let's see how this plays out. The way I kind of tier these off is we really look to have a just this big pile of one drops. But interesting little set here. As we're talking about how we like to play this with the kind of the Twisted Fate style with the Black Market Merchants and the Fortune Croakers, and that's immediately who just shows up here. And I do believe this is who we'll be taking. Vi on her own can play pretty reasonably with this one drop theme. It's very easy to really level up your Vi when you're just spewing a bunch of one-cost units on the board. And it's very nice to have this kind of interactive play, since it's something that this, at least the Bilgewater side of this deck, really lacks in. But this is a pretty weak set of cards. The Smash and Grab card pool is actually centered around playing 2-cost spells and 2-cost cards, taking advantage of Insightful Investigator. And so if we're really looking to build around one drops, I don't want to have another theme in here that's really wanting to build around 2 drops. So I think we can let this one go. And then down here with Shen, just a little too slow. We don't particularly care about our units dying because we're just going to have more units to replace them with. And so since our units are so low value, we typically just don't care about having this big pile of barriers. And so I think we'll be good with First to the Draw Twisted Fate. Plays kind of ideally with what we're trying to pull off. Let me pull this one up real quick and we can talk about it for a moment as well. And then kind of the idea thing that we can do with this is these two pools are going to like synergize pretty well together, but we're the kind of like envisioning I have with this before we get going is we're just going to have this big pile of one drops, and then we're going to have 3 Twisted Fates in our deck. But there are quite a few cards in here that play well with Twisted Fate. We'd already kind of talked about this one cost unit theme, where we're trying to use Pool Shark and Fortune Croaker to draw a bunch of cards, and then flood out the board, and then hit Plunders to draw cards with Pilfered Goods and Black Market Merchant. That the entirety of that plan is still here. The other thing that you can be doing with this First to the Draw Twisted Fate is going after sea monsters. I typically try to pursue them with Jaw Hunters, and then it's very easy to actually go deep when you're drawing multiple cards a turn. We in the round 0 match, we're only going to have 30 cards in our deck. After the 3 wins, we're going to have 36. So we start off, 4 cards ahead of where we would be in constructed, and then just using all of these card draw cards tends to be enough to hit deep pretty quickly on turn 6 or turn 7, and so. That is going to be kind of the backup plan. We'll look to see if we can't spike some of these sea monsters. Really not intending to go that way, since we are starting out with the Fishbones. We already have a 1-drop in Fizz, and we have the 1-drop activators. Twisted Fate being pretty happy with all these 1-drop style themes, and so I think this will be okay. And I guess we're going to take this, and then kind of like the last point to make, we haven't seen it here, but we can potentially find find another faction to where the 1-drops tend to show up frequently in these Fishbones pools. They do appear within the Fishbones theme itself if you pick up a 3rd faction, and so we might try to find ourselves doing that kind of thing. But let's take a look here. The second Professor Von Yip is what I'm mostly interested in here. If we're going to go for it, let's go for it. I don't really want to be doing things with Ballistic Bot or Shady Character. The Fortune Croaker Beast Below are reasonable. I don't think we want to be pursuing the Beast Belows this early. I think we should just stay on theme with the Von Yip, and we do need to kind of make note of trying to find the spells that generate units. I really do prefer to be building towards Jagged Taskmasters. I think these play out much more easily, and they don't take as much deck building constraints. You can just slam a whole bunch of 1-drops in your deck, and Jagged Taskmaster is going to work. Whereas Professor Von Yip, you kind of specifically need the spell units. But He's here and we'll take him. So, so let's see how this goes. And so I didn't quite elaborate on the way I typically draft these Fishbone style decks. I touched on it a little bit, but I basically won't take a pack that doesn't have a 1-drop in it unless we're able to get some kind of like extremely good epic, or if we see something that like a Mystic Shot Get Excited, then we'll be okay with skipping out on 1-drops. But in general, the way I kind of tier these out is I'm going to find a pack that has a 1-drop in it, and then so we have 2 choices here, and then kind of like in the previous pack, if we don't have any packs with 1-drops, then I'll look for removal spells or specific build-arounds. And so we're looking for our Mystic Shots, our Get Exciteds, our Thermogenic Beams, the things like Professor Von Yips and Jagged Taskmasters. Those are kind of like the tier 2 of things. And then once we get past that removal spell build-around, then we'll just kind of fill in as good as possible, hopefully with things like Black Market Merchant, Pilfered Goods, Fortune Croakers, the kind of like secondary themes that we're trying to pull off here. And so with these, both of these 1-drops are fairly comparable. The Prowling Cutthroat does work a little bit better if we're trying to pull off plunders, whereas the Shell Shocker is just a little bit better at combat. But we have the Black Market Merchant back up here, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Merchant pack. Okay, we got a handful of 1-drops here, just exactly what we're looking for. Yordle Grifter could be reasonable. It doesn't seem like we're getting too deep into Piltover, but I assume by the end of the draft we're going to have like 7 or 8 Piltover cards at a minimum, and so I'm not really excited about picking these up. Then down here, the Iterative Improvement's a little bit too bad. Okay, and so we get to take a peek at this. There is kind of an interesting choice in the Targon pack. There's a lot of good 1-drops in Targon, but I think we'll be okay to kind of skip over that. If this was like starting with one, I'll be okay with it, but we're really looking for things like Gift Giver or Spacey Sketcher. Not so much the 1-drop that adds Dust Petal Dust to your hand, but starting out with these 2 random cards just doesn't feel that good. And so with this one, again, we don't have any 1-drops here, and so I'm just going to go with the one that has a removal spell in it. I think, given the state of our deck, having 2 Black Market Merchants and is kind of this plunder theme to a little bit, and so I think we need to just go and pick up the removal spell while we have the opportunity to do so. Yeah, come on, bud. Okay, and then kind of sucks to pass on a Thermogenic Beam, but I'm still going to stay on track and take the 1-drops when we see them. I am kind of interested in seeing how this augment plays out. This is going to be our second ballistic bot. We might have another way to make a created card at some point. Even just giving these like an additional +1 or +2 attack can be a pretty big deal, and so I think these will play out reasonably well. Okay, and then we're going to stick to our tiering here. We only have 5 1-drops up to this point, so we're going to take the Shell Shocker. I'm happy with the Shell Shockers. These tend to play out pretty well, even though our dumb deck here only has 1 spell in it. But that'll change before the trial's over. Okay, and perfect. Exactly what we're looking for here in the Jailbreak. Poro Cannons tend to be okay in this style of deck, since it gives you an elusive way to deal with combat, but I would really love to see more Jailbreaks and more Double Troubles since we picked up the 2 Professor Von Yips. Okay, well, we're gonna stay on track with the 1-drops. I would really prefer to hit Pool Sharks. I think this is kind of the ideal unit, since it lets you just kind of keep churning through your deck. But Lure of the Depths is going to be a 100% dead card in what we're drafting here. So we just have to take the Cutthroat with the Patrol Wardens. Okay, that's a beautiful one. A Pool Shark with a removal spell. That's going to be a pretty quick take. All right. And then again here, where do we stand? We have managed to get up to our 10 1-drops, so we don't really have to just pursue the Shell Shocker, and I'm pretty cool with this. This will be our 3rd Black Market Merchant to continue on the draw from your opponent's cards theme, and then we need some kind of interaction, right? We're not really excited about suit-ups, but all we have right now is the 1 Gotcha and the 1 Get Excited. 2 of these spells are unit generators in the Poro Cannon and the Jailbreak. So, I'm never excited about suit-ups, but it does give us a way to get some interaction going. Oh, beautiful. Couldn't have found a more perfect pack. A 1-drop with the Thermogenic Beam. Can't smash that up any faster. Okay, and then an interesting one for our last choice here. Jack the Winner is a very fantastic way to be closing out games. And then Monkey Idols, I'm not like hugely excited about these, but it does, generate units that play well with Professor Von Yip. This generates the powder monkeys and then gives you kind of an additional way to put yippable units on the board, if you will. And so I would like to take the Double Trouble, but I think we're just going to be more likely to see things like Double Trouble and Jailbreak as our trade picks show up, and we're not going to be super likely to find a Jack the Winner. And so the late game with these decks can be pretty tough to close out. That's why I kind of like finding some Poro Cannons. I typically like to have 3 or 4 Mystic Shots. Who doesn't like to have 3 or 4 Mystic Shots? But as you just kind of think of how the game's going to go, we're just going to flood the board with 1-drops. Our opponent probably can't do that, so we're going to get ahead. But then, opponent's going to start playing their 3/3s and their 4/4s and their 4/5s and such that just shut down all of our attacks. And so we need some kind of way to either go around those or go over top of those. And so you can kind of go around with Poro Cannon, or you can go over top with the burn spells. And so I think we'll be happy to pick up the burn spell half of this at this point. Okay, and here I do want the Double Trouble. Again, we are in this this double Professor Von Yip deck as it stands, and we need some ways to take advantage of him as soon as we play him. So Double Trouble is a reasonable pick. Poro Cannon, it should be okay here. We do have the 2 Ballistic Bots to be generating cards to discard, but I think it's okay to let it go. Man, these are interesting as well, and these created Poros also interact well with our armed gearheads. Man, maybe you can just let this go. I've really convinced myself that I like Poro Cannon a whole lot. So let's just add the 1-drop in. Man, that's tough. It's tough finding cards that feel like they're going to be better than Double Trouble. Okay, and let's take a look here. As usual, we have to go in and premium up one of our cards so it makes them feel better and perform better. I think with this one, I know with some of these, like I'm pretty sure Pull Shark is already boosted. I know Ballistic Bot is. I think Armed Gearhead might be. So let's do this. We're going to look for things in order of Pull Shark, Armed Gearhead, and then if those are already premium, then we'll do Jailbreak. So let's see here. Cards. Look at that, Pull Shark already shiny. Gearhead already shiny. Alright, so we're gonna do Jailbreak. Get those random shinies, make sure that everyone is represented in this trial. Oh, come on, bud. Alrighty, let's get to it. So yeah, I think this came together reasonably. I would like to find, find a Taskmaster. It's hard to kind of do that since it is epic, but he's kind of ideal. I'm planning on taking 3 Twisted Fates for this trial. Fizz isn't super important since we hit our kind of 1-drop quota, and so I would like to just kind of clean up a little bit here. See, this is kind of the awkward thing you run into with Professor Von Yip, is that you kind of chicken and egg it a little bit here, where you don't want to be playing 1-drop, so you can get advantage of them for Professor Von Yip, but we also aren't in a spot to where we could just like not play anything. So, oh, the Taskmaster. That's gonna it's gonna change things a little bit for us. Our guy does have Fearsome, so these can just run around this. But again, this gets kind of awkward in the sense that we want these Prowling Cutthroats to be boosted. I think I'm going to be okay with just playing 1. I don't think things can go too wrong when we have 1 on the board, and then we can start playing better ones next turn. I was kind of hoping that we could just bank a bunch of spell mana here and for our Professor Von Yip, but it looks like things have kind of pushed in that direction. I think this will be okay.
One foot in front of the other. The weak don't
So at least we can play Professor Von Yip plus 1 card next turn, which should be a pretty decent start.
Tarek, are you here to help me?
The journey is yours, but I'll help where I can.
Yep. Was expected.
No time to rest.
Never submit.
We're not going to get really good blocks on any of these. I think this is it's kind of dangerous to take this in the event that he plays something like Zenith Blade. You know, we don't want to be taking these big chunks of overwhelm damage. But I think we're good to just get the Taskmaster out of here. You know, we're going to have spaces for 3 units on board. We're going to add 1 and 2, and so I think we're going to be pretty close to just having a full board next turn. So I want to go ahead and free up this space, even though, you know, he's just getting a very good attack into our unit. A little unfortunate not picking up an additional 1 drop, but I think this is okay. As it stands, he can't block any of our elusives. They all have fearsome, so this thing can't block. Okay, so we're good to just spew Von Yip into here. This is fine.
Open wide.
You've done your work, friend.
Don't touch that.
This is kind of one of these neat places with ballistic bots as well, giving us a additional way to chunk in some damage. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh dear. Don't ask where it's from. Ask how much.
Ooh, drew his Zenith Blade. Nice.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
Right. Seems like a pretty good spot. This is kind of like exactly how these games play out, right? We're looking to get wider than him. We're just going to be throwing cards into his board, and then... oh man, he's got 3 Zenith Blades? Must be nice. I forgot what that felt like. But I think we're good to go ahead and Zenith Blade our little guy. This will let him contest his Taric. Right? If he plays another unit, Taric attacks, he gives it, you know, the boost. It looks like he is trying to set up a Pale Cascade.
Never submit to preserve beauty and protect all life.
Oh, I forgot he's just going to level up. Well, let's make him have it as far as the Pale Cascade is concerned here. Then we can just open and be wider than him. Yep.
What is it? Give it a whirl.
Safety disengaged. Fire till nothing moves. Primed and ready.
Primed and ready. Let's send him in here.
I'll be quick.
No further.
Yep. Again, as expected. And are we going to be 1 short? Can have frightening cards if he spikes like a Golden Sister with this, and then you can draw a card with Fortune Croaker to try to hit either Monkey Idol,
Guide you, my brethren.
which would work, or Monkey Idols when the round starts. The Piter Monkey might not be good enough, but I think we should probably go ahead and do this. Can't just go ahead and win.
After them?
After 'em.
Alright, so we didn't hit any of our big winners. A little unfortunate, but...
Daylight
Fuck.
star will
Yep.
rule the skies.
That was the one I was worried about. Sure.
Dazzling.
So we have to block one. So he's going to get 2 blocks out of this Golden Sister. This game's done. We're dead now. What a sick series of events. We steal his Zenith Blade, but he actually has 3, and then he's able to get this whole chain going. We just got to prevent 2. Let's at least do it like this. Should probably put it on the Golden Sister. And let's leave this space open, see if we can't find a way out of this. That's actually perfect.
You won't feel it first.
Ideally, this will come block down here on the Prowling Cutthroat, and then if he has some kind of way out of this, hopefully Suit Up is enough to get this 6 damage in. I'm worried with how much he stalled there and didn't do anything, but we can't not play our lethal. Oh, beautiful, nice. Ooh. The luck can go on both sides sometimes. I just need. It's the last time we drafted Tarek. We just saw 0 Zenith Blades, and so it hurts to see people carry that much. Okay, so let's see. I mean, my full intent here was to take like the Twisted Fate packs, but this Jinx is just fantastic as well. And so we're not a champion build around here. We typically, recommend drafting 3 of one champion and 1 of another, and we did kind of intend on drafting 3 Twisted Fates because his interactive qualities are just so good, but we don't really want anything to do with Jaw Hunter's Abyssal Eye. And so we're good on our 1-drop count, and so just the Jinx will be all we need here. Actually help us close out these games. That's the big problem our deck has at this point, is being able to close out games. Awful scary in that previous one there. But Jinx is good at it. Mega Death Rockets are very good at making games end, and then we picked up a Mystic Shot. So all in all, pretty reasonable. I think this hand seems fine. Okay. Let's start with the Shell Shocker. If he has a card, this will trade with anything, and if he doesn't, this will deal the most damage. I do worry about these Fiora decks, though. We should be playing 2 Fioras here, and that it's kind of dangerous just to be slamming units into their board.
Broke my hand, so I got a new one. This is glorious.
Okay, so we'll come in for 5 here. And this does give us a chance to bank up some spell mana for Von Yip. May or may not happen, but let's at least take a peek and see what happens. I'm kind of tempted to try to just Mystic Shot this because he's probably going to be playing a lot of barriers here, but it'll be okay without doing that. Love to see him get into combat first, yeah, because we don't really care about losing any of these units. Then we get to play Professor Von Yip afterwards. This was the play I was considering, was if we wanted to just go ahead and play the second Poro so that we could try to at least shut this combat down, but I think that was probably a little too greedy.
Like this? Oh, I see. Eyes up here, or I'll cut him out.
Discipline.
Sure.
Steel.
I think we probably just get everything on board, right?
I'll burn for what I've done.
He wants to try to get a block in with Fiora, then we have the Mystic Shot to try to take her down. Can't imagine he ever tries to block with Fiora. He's probably just going to put the Emerald Awakener in front of the Butcher, but
Open wide.
I think this is okay. Maybe we shouldn't be attacking with a non-elusive here, but I kind of like it.
I will learn from you.
This was my big worry about just going into his turn next turn and not dealing with this. Is if he has like a riposte in a single combat or something, he can just gain actual infinite health. So pretty glad to have a way to interact with that thing.
I never hold back. Try me.
I'm gonna go ahead and get the block, so if this has to come into combat, it's gonna die.
2 down.
Once I stamp papers, now faces.
Seven. One from the thing. Okay. Alright, I don't think we can send our ground units in. I just worry if he has a barrier here, then he can kill us next turn. So we want to at least make him have to have a single combat.
Lucky you. I'm the last thing you'll see.
Keep looking back on that Mystic Shot play, and I like it. I like it less and less. The more I think about this, the less I wish we would have attacked with that unit, so we'd still have our Mystic Shot for Fiora. But we'll probably just draw Get Excited anyways, right?
Virtue guides me.
Sure.
Can you improve perfection? Rise, metal brethren. Prime and ready.
Burn spell. Oh. Alright, so we're at the hands of fate here. We can block all this stuff and still have a unit left over, so hopefully that's good enough here. But if he has a single combat or something, then we're dead. Yippers. See what he picks. If he doesn't hook Ballistic Bot, then we do have... oh, nice. I'm going to say he's at 2, so if he doesn't gain health, then we can ignition him out without even attacking. This block seems fine. We have to worry about a riposte. So this block seems fine. That would leave us at 3. So we're going to have to put in a final block with this thing. No, we don't. We can do this. That leaves us at 4. Okay. So that gets us out of riposte range. You would have to... I don't think... You would have to have like Twin Disciplines plus a 1-cost card. I'm willing to risk that one. Are we? I mean, do we even care that much? Yeah, I think we do, because we're going to get into 1 this turn with the ignition. Yeah. So taking to 8. Got 4. Gotta come up with something here. I'm not going to play Professor Von Yip. We'll have ways to just... We'll have the mana to just get him on board next turn, and then if we draw Get Excited, I want to have a way to do that. And then this should be that should be a game winner. Or no, we can't draw the card this turn.
What I do in Demasia's name.
Quite right, quite right.
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings
So,
or people.
yeah, we're too low. Damn. I was gonna say, if we should have held on to Professor Von Yip in case we drew Get Excited. Didn't. It did. Oh, we get to do, we drew our extra card because of Jinx anyways. Perfect. LOL. LOL. What's that they say about better lucky than good? I don't know. I don't know what they say about that. I wouldn't know anything. Oh, snap.
Got me.
Sucks to be these people. We are rolling high today. Nice. Let's see. Interesting little set. I don't think we want petty officers. It does, create the one-cost units, which are kind of interesting, but I like where this is going with the Poro cannons, and we've been having quite a bit of success with the elusives, and so I think I just want to skip all of these. Don't think we'll do anything with Flash of Brilliance here. Cool, cool. Uh-oh. It's gonna have the elusive blocker and the Teemo. Those aren't one drops. Get rid of all this. Alright, we found one. That was pretty close. And do we want to go ahead and spew off a jailbreak? I can't imagine that we do.
They never stop. I want to go home.
Okay. You can see with this turn, see if we can't get wider than him.
See the world from behind a basilisk.
2, 3, 4.
Can Mystic Shot this Teemo? I don't care about the first hit. But I'm going to assume that he never blocks with this Teemo, and then we can just hit with both next turn and get a plunder off. That's going to be my hope. Let's see if it plays out how I want. I just assume this Teemo never blocks. If he has like a 1 damage spell, then that's kind of suck for us, but
Let's get to it.
I think this will be okay.
Carry your own gear.
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
I'll have what he's having.
So it was a little awkward sequencing, and it would have been really nice if we didn't just hit like a no-value 1/1 off of our jailbreak, but I think that sequence was pretty good. And if we'd hit any like, 2/1 or 1/2, any just not like 1/1, then we would have been pretty good in the combat there. Oh, you're really taking a last breath?
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people.
Okay, so his 4/4 is a problem, so we're going to need to just go ahead and open here.
Time to get rich.
And we can technically flip our Jinx if we want to spend the 1 mana Thermogenic Beam on something, which I'm not opposed to. Let's go ahead and start drawing the 2 cards a turn.
Carry your own gear.
But maybe he'll play something that we can kill with this. But if he doesn't, I'm still just gonna play it. I wanna flip this Jinx. Okay. What about if we just wait till next turn? Let's just wait till next turn. Alright, and we can at least play everything here. We had a couple draws that would have been awkward if we couldn't have got them on the board.
What I find, I keep.
Just keeping the peace.
Haven't bitched about Jay Madara in a while. My problem with Jay Madara is he's not that great now. Like, there's nothing to really build around him. But you see these cards in game like Magic all the time, to where it's either like completely unplayable or completely bonkers, and that's kind of where this guy fits into. You know, it just takes like one card for him to be on the nutsos end of the spectrum.
The dead don't need riches. Move out.
Smile. It's called
Okay.
gunplay.
We can go 7 to face this turn. This should just kill him. They can have things to some life gain out of Shadow Isles, but I think this will probably close it out.
For the mushrooms.
Back off, buddy.
Right, this will discard. We'll get 3 to face, and then we'll get the Super Death Rocket. So even if he had another kind of play, he should be able to survive the rocket. All right, good game, friend. We didn't have to top deck that game to win. Sometimes you just get it in there good. Okay. It's an interesting set. The Fizz has, you know, the double trouble, which we've really been shooting for, but the Jinx also has the interaction, which is where we're really lacking. I'm not a huge fan of these 2 cost matters kind of spells, the suit ups or the gotchas, but I think they'll be okay here. We are playing a lot of card draw, so they have a lot of opportunities to be good. It's just we kind of run into spots to where, you know, if we have a suit up and something else, or a gotcha and something else, and we need to spew out our hand and then we can't, it kind of sucks. But, you know, we're getting the reach here and get excited. The suit up plays well with our kind of elusive sub theme, and then Jinx is pretty good top end. And so we got the same problem down here with Twisted Fate. We don't want this Abyssal Eye. Black Market Merchant is good, but it's not as good as what we're getting out of the Jinx with the get excited. And then just we haven't really found enticing spots to pick up double troubles. So Jinx it is. Okay. What was that? Twisted Fate and Jinx? Are you trying to do the same thing, bro? Twisted Fates are reasonably scary for what we're trying to do here. It's very good at just AoEing our whole team. I'm just going to full mulligan. We have enough ones to where we should draw another one, and then I really want to be picking up Von Yips and Taskmasters.
Eyes up here, or I'll cut 'em out.
Doing the same thing, bro? Sure.
Open wide, sugar.
Alright, we'll go ahead and spew that off while we can. This does make a real unit that kind of sucks for him to have to interact with. He's going to have to spend a Mystic Shot or something here. Pretty okay with how that's played out.
You won't feel it at first.
And here, I don't see a reason to add the Cutthroat. We'll just add Ballistic Bot. It's going to be a very good blocker here. And then bank a Touch of Spell mana for if we draw our 1 Jailbreak for the Von Yip.
I'm always up for a round or two. Hold it, partner.
Okay.
Just you and me, Fishbones. And then
Alright, then this at least shuts off his Twisted Fate attack. The next turn we can Von Yip into Shell Shocker into Ignition. It's not the worst thing that could be happening. even want to ignite? We just want to make a big cutthroat.
Another Marvolio miracle!
How bad is this? Razor scale? Okay, we probably want the 4 attack unit. This also kind of threatens getting another 4 attack unit in the ballistic bot.
On top of my wand and...
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh no!
We got our little plunder activator for our test masters as well. It's not a bad deal out of these ballistic bots. You get a 1-mana thinker here? I don't think there's anything that matters.
Join me if you want to live.
But as I was kind of talking about on that previous pick, the having problems with like suit up and gotcha. So, if we want to spew out our hand here and we had a random 4-cost card in it that wasn't Jinx, it would be very hard to pull off. So that's kind of the problem I run into with these. But we're okay here. We shouldn't be at risk of losing our Von. Yep, we have 2 good 4 health or 4 attack blockers now. I think this is good.
Swim quickly, little fish.
So ordinary.
Nope. Yep. That's close. And we'll just take the point of damage, I think. Well, if he's gonna hit it with plunder, I think this is okay.
The weak don't deserve mercy.
Okay.
Hey there. Don't mind the knife.
All right. Seems like we've got the advantage here.
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people.
Works for me. And I think we want to be discarding a well, interesting. If we, I was trying to think if we had a way to get a Death Rocket this turn, and that involves the Merchant being the last card that we play. And I think this is okay. Right, let's. How close are you? You're pretty far away.
Less thinking, more pew-pewing.
Let's kill this thing off. We can. I didn't count my mana. I was gonna say we could have got it all going, but I didn't have the mana left over for the Death Rocket.
For silver I talk, for gold I
So-
lease it.
I'll cut him up myself.
I'll be quick.
So this was the idea, right? We were going to get this attack in. We were going to hit our plunder. And then post-combat, we play the Black Market Merchant. Jinx flips, we get the card draw. And then from the way this stuff sequences, we should get both the Death Rocket and the card from our opponent's deck. But did not do that with perfection.
I'll give you to the count of time's up.
But this should be pretty tough for this guy to come back from. He really needs that draw 3 cards thing. Oh, we wouldn't have gotten a Death Rocket. Interesting. At least good to know.
Now it's a party. Jinx stands for Jinx. Durr.
So I would have to my big units.
Good luck. Your bounty.
This is our next most likely blocker. We're just going to play out our whole hand and try to Death Rocket him. He has to specifically have the answer to Jinx. Okay, we're good.
We are doing it.
Good game, friend.
Lucky you. I'm the last thing you'll see.
Let's get it out here. Trying to play it. Trying to play it. There we go.
See? This is progress.
Look at that. More creative cards for augments. This is just an augment deck, right? Nice. Good game, friend.
We blew them all up!
Let's see. Never trading out Get Exciteds or Check the Win. I don't think we can make any of these trades. I'm still pretty happy with these Poro Cannons. I do like this kind of elusive theme that we have. I like how well these play with our few augment units. I think this is a pretty good card here. Not getting rid of our removal spells ever. And I think Jack the Winner, like he's a candidate for getting taken out now. Like when we started the trial, our only burn was like the one Get Excited. And then now that we've picked up a second Get Excited and a Mystic Shot, I'm a little bit okay-ish to get rid of Jack the Winner. But he's still a good game closer, and so if it was a real decision, like I don't want scrap shots in our deck, we just could not care less about our opponent's gigantic units, then, you know, I'd consider it. But I think Jack the Winner is just way better than scrap shot in what we're trying to do here. All right, off we go. Just have to wonder if it was a mistake to make the jailbreak premium. That's our big question and learning moment for this trial. Was it the right one or not? Time will tell. All right, let's start with the Cutthroat. It's always a good one. And then we can get rid of these others. Okay.
Eyes up here.
So there's a world where he plays like a Poro.
I have my
That makes this a little awkward. Not a Poro, the Yeti maker, the 1-2 thing.
This'll shake 'em. Easy, Tiger.
This isn't like ideal. I'd rather be trading off another unit than our Cutthroat, but it should be pretty tough for our opponent to shut us down next turn. Like we're just gonna slam in here and get the plunder. But I think we need to go now. There's a good chance that he just has a 3/3 for 3, and then we need to start banking up for Professor Von Yip. And so I don't want to spew off the one attack units when we're gonna need the stats for Von Yip. If this dude starts playing like Averosian Trappers, we're gonna be in a real bad spot. Our deck does not interact well with the 5/5s. Okay. Curious what we can get away with here. Just like parking these landmark units on the board can, you know, leave us a little short on useful dudes.
I don't think so.
That trick, this is fine. Whatever it involves for him to not be adding units to the board is pretty good for us. Yep.
Blessed by snow and stars.
Perhaps we should pause for thought.
We have like the real question here of what do we do with Jinx? That makes life easier. So let's start off with Gearhead. I think we want to add Jinx. I don't think we ever want to add Rhyme Tusk Shaman here. I wanted to see how much of his mana he's going to actually spend out to see if we can't get attack also with Black Market Merchant, right? If we're able to say gotcha Draven.
Yeah, I'm ready.
But
None can compare.
This is gonna
he just brings it in. Did not expect that. We need to try to ace this Romfang Wolf. I don't want to be losing our Vanya here or our Jinx here. Alright, so we can play it all. Hopefully it just doesn't have any more interaction here. Good.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Block. We'll take the Draven hit, but
Something the matter?
let's prevent this damage where we can.
Time for the moneymakers.
An auspicious season.
Evolve me.
7. Okay, so I mean, I think we're okay here. We have pretty reasonable answers for the Wild Claw since it can't really interact with the Shaman.
I'll give you to
I
the
think this is
count of
okay. Right, our big worry here is just getting overwhelmed, and so shutting off this Wild Claw is kind of huge.
The frost reveals all.
And we're in this spot again where the Get Excited can close out the game. Is that a Jinx? What is this? Oh, Pool Shark Druid. Okay. So let's red card him.
Never lost a fair game.
Oh no, we did this thing again to where we can't play our Death Rocket now. Shit. Should have just played the Cutthroat. Oh, that's bad.
This will be a good winter. Something for all of you.
Can we get him to 3?
destruction feeds my
I assume this is going to block something. We're guaranteed to get 1 unit in. Well, our guaranteed 1 unit would be Prowling Cutthroat. It's brutal. We messed this up. Brutal. So we just have to add this now, right?
Don't mind the knife.
open wide, sugar.
Can we ever attack with Jinx? I don't think so. 6 queen. I don't like what we've done here. Completely messed this up. It's so much reach with the Get Excited. We 100% should have just played Prowling Cutthroat and then we. All right. Sometimes you just draw more Get Exciteds to just take the win, but that was gross how we did that. Good. Alrighty. Whew. Outplayed, that's right. You know, Twisted Fate. There, I don't know what the line is, but Twisted Fate knows that was the way to do it. So I didn't exactly see what we should have been doing there, but Twisted Fate certainly did. So what do we think about acing this Black Market Merchant to finally pick up a double trouble? I kind of like it. We haven't needed too much of these kind of card draw effects, especially now that we've picked up the Jinxes. I think this will be okay. And we have also gotten to the point where I'm okay to trade out some of these 1-drops, but I don't think Pilfered Goods is exactly what we're looking for. I want more along the lines of removal spells. Okay, good deal. Okay, and then I don't think we ever want Monkey Idol. The Cutthroats are interesting in the event that we're playing against Teemo. So I think it's okay to keep. Well, I mean, not in the event we're playing against Teemo. We're certainly playing against Teemo, but in the event that they actually have him, then I think we should do some amount of searching for our enablers.
Louise! To me! Reporting in.
The event has happened. It's fine. I'll take this first hit from him. Maybe he won't open and we get to add the cutthroat, but I'm fully suspecting he just hits this. This first puff cap hit isn't a big deal.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Once I stab papers, now faces.
Hey there. Don't mind the knife.
Okay, I'm just gonna slam into the bot.
System upgrade.
But what if his play is just to drop a puff cap peddler? And so the idea being that we like fortune croak or pull shark, add a gearhead. I don't like it. I don't like it.
So ordinary.
Sure.
Prime and ready. A ticket to the gun show.
What can I
Okay, and then I
say?
will go ahead and deal with the Teemo at this point. Now that we don't have our unit to put in front of this.
Signing off.
Can you improve perfection?
Have a mushroom. Have 3.
Okay, and then there is a world where he just passes here. He doesn't pass now that we've played Professor Von Yip, but he probably does pass if we just leave all of our mana up.
Look out! Something the matter.
I want to prevent this. The only way we ever really lose this is if he gets our life total down. I have to feel like our late game's a lot better than this guy's. So, want to
What do I do? What don't I
want to
do?
prevent this damage where we can. Our units are about to get big as well. So,
They grow up so fast.
I don't change fake, but I can see it.
A game. Go on then.
okay, then we only have good attacks with these 3 down here. Okay.
Evolve me.
Where are you, spirit?
Everything's fine. Feels like we're a little bit behind now, but I think this is okay. If we get to play Von Yip untap with him and have him survive, then he should be out here for the long haul. Not drawing the cards to play well with him.
So I got a new one.
One hand will not reshape the future.
What do I do? What don't I do?
You still have so much to improve. Prime and
Okay, well, our blocks here is still really good. I mean, he has a Mushroom Cloud in his hand to give these 3 attack, but this is ultimately not a super scary attack. Boundary. Okay.
Optimal outcome achieved.
Let's get him out of here. His units are going to have to start blocking, and they don't do that particularly well. So I think this will be okay. Sure.
can you improve perfection? Humanity is obsolete.
Trick shot.
Hang on, he's tapped out. Let's go ahead and get rid of this Ballistic Bot. This is his good blocker as far as these cards are concerned. Let's get rid of Monkey Idol because our board is kind of full. It does suck to kind of get rid of this thing once we have the Professor Von Yip on board, but I think we can do a lot with this Black Market Merchant.
My future. Prime and ready. A ticket to the gun show.
What's this?
Block from any of these is pretty good for us. Gonna have to run into the abyss with these armed gearheads next turn if he doesn't block with them. Okay. He's just taking it and losing his. That seems good for us. It seems very good.
Don't ask where it's from. Ask how much.
Where do you stand on cold shots?
Okay. Seems like we're in a pretty good spot here. We don't have the... Oh, Twisted Fate. Oh, Twisted Fate. What up? Right on time, my friend. If we can survive to our next turn, I think we should be okay.
Deal me in. I'm a people person.
There's that puff cap set. Should just, you know, be a little handful of damage, but no, that's not the way it always pans out. All right, so we just gotta fade the 7-hit. Oh fuck, that's so bad. Oh, that's so bad. Oh man. Okay. That's gonna do it for us. Damn. Alright, so survived it. One, survived it. Alright, alright. Okay. No burn. No burn spells. Nice! Sick. Oh man. Those games always make you clench those butt cheeks. Alright. Let's see what these sweet trade picks we get are. I don't think we want to make any of these. Again, Island Navigator does make 1-cost units, but I don't really want these expensive cards getting stuck in our hand. And we're not getting rid of our removal or our cannon, so we can skip that. Cool with trading out slot bots. He's fairly weak in our deck, but Yordle Grifter's not who we want to be picking up. And then again, I am cool to trade out some of these 1-drops, but not to pick up Fortune Croakers. Just not what we're really looking for here. I'm good to get rid of the Patrol Wardens for the Pool Shark. The Static Shock's pretty weak here. And then the Shell Shocker, Armed Gearhead are pretty equal. Okay, so we're not getting ready to get excited. Jack the Winter is still a pretty good target for removal, but this is close. Like, I was getting worried in that previous game to where we were kind of like running out of cards and we never drew our Jinx. Which is, you know, it's reasonable. We only have 2 copies of her. And so that was the kind of place where I'd have been excited to still have Jack the Winter. I mean, these games aren't going to like turn 8 and turn 9. They're just closing out before then. I think we're good to actually just skip all of these. Hanging on to Mystic Shot. Even Warned is kind of interesting. Gives us a little bit of interaction, but I think we still need to keep a touch of this card draw. So let's skip that one. Don't want Submersible. Happy with Ballistic Bot, don't want Peddler, we can skip those. And our last one. I think I'm pretty okay with swapping out this Pool Shark for a Beam. Can't have too much of these really good removal spells. Our 1-drop count is safe. So, alright, let's prepare. Here we go. Such a high roll. These are the kind of things that, like, whenever I used to play like competitive Magic, it's like I've qualified for the Pro Tour and cashed some Grand Prix and came close to top 8 in some Grand Prix. But it's like, you know, clearly another one of these people that were highly successful in regards to, you know, Pro Tour level players. But it's just like when, you know, showing up at a Grand Prix and it's like, if you know you're running like this, those are the ones to where someone such as myself would just show up in the top 8 when you have a pretty run good day like this one has gone. Starting with that Teemo, bro. He just had to. This is like our 3rd or 4th Teemo match. He's out in force today.
Blood and sweat.
I think we want to just get the Black Market Merchant going. Actually, a ton of good cards we can draw out of this guy's deck. Especially if it hits, say, like a Ballistic Bot, makes it one cheaper. A removal spell could be super important. Yeah, the intent is to play Monkey Idol into Von Yip, but if, you know, he plays things that make it different, and this might be something that makes it different enough. He's not going to have any, like, good plays next turn. We have a good open, and then we can get a Von Yip on board. I think I like this. As long as he's not getting these puff caps going, I think we're going to be pretty safe. Okay. I wonder if he spews that out because he just doesn't have any more peddlers. His deck does not seem to be cooperating with what he's doing here.
Time to get rich.
Okay.
Stand aside. An expert is at work.
So he should be safe. Technically next turn, if we need to protect him with Suit Up, we can. Like if our opponent tries to start with a double trouble. If our opponent tries to start with like a Get Excited or something, then we can protect. I don't think we'll need to be doing that, but options. Maybe we do need to be doing that. Okay, then I wanted to get the Pool Shark down since it can shut down this guy's attack. Sure. We got our card of value out of this. And are we good to just add Jack the Winner? I think he can probably get an attack in here. It's very tough for Mono Piltover to have units that interact with Jack the Winner.
Beg your pardon. I'll recite your rights. Scoundrel! Oh!
What can I say? I'm an adaptable guy.
Okay, alright, things are happening.
Lock the doors.
Let's get on. We can augment, bro. I mean, let's show this guy how to augment. Certainly got that going on.
You dream it, I'll build it.
ZV.
Humanity is obsolete. Metal is perfection. Electroplating completed.
Picked up Scout. So this is a touch awkward. I think we just want to add Monkey Idol. Let's take a moment and see if he actually attacks with anything. I figure he's probably not going to. See if we can't get a good Get Excited or something next turn.
No! System upgrade. You wanted wrath.
Now I pack a punch.
Uh-oh, here comes all the cards. Nothing we can do about that. This dude has all the Mystic shots. What was that, 3? 3 so far?
Ingenious.
And Fury.
Treasures of the ages for Christ.
Do we go ahead and sleep with the fishes? I think we probably do. I'm wanting to see what kind of blocks he throws out in front of our stuff. So we're gonna ace off that thing. I think we want to get our Prowling Cutthroats going. Ideally, we'd be discarding Slotbot to get excited. We're getting some chunk damage in here. Okay. What?
Hey there.
As someone kindly reminded me in the in the YouTube comments earlier, these things do have fearsome, so you can't actually block these. So I think this will be okay.
You don't have clearance.
We'd rather just get rid of Double Trouble at this point. I think I want to hang on to the Double Trouble. We still have a Professor Von Yep. 2. It's gonna hit for 3. Like this Victor's the only like really scary card here, right? Like the ZV's, you know, it sucks if he's drawing like Mystic Shots and things, but I think the only way that like we directly lose this like right now is if our opponent like hits elusive with Victor or hits you know, something that's more protective. I think this is okay.
Primed and ready.
Nothing like the great outdoors.
Have anything we could ignite? Can hit this.
I don't change fate, and I can see it.
Let's get him with the fizz. It's the first time we've even seen him in this game. He's gonna be flipped. It's too bad he can't hit until, oh jeez, he's got all the iterative improvements. Big time, big time. Okay.
Lucky you. I'm the last thing you'll see.
System upgrade. Rise, metal brethren.
I think we're okay. I mean, we're gonna take a 7 hit, but our life is pretty healthy here. I guess the question comes down to like, can Fizz ever do anything? Fizz doesn't actually do anything, right? I was imagining that we were gonna get like these Chum the Waters and then close the game out with Longtooth, but he actually has to like Nexus Strike to count. Okay, Chum the Waters in hand.
Safety disengaged.
But at least as this stands, we're pretty close to just repping lethal here. Fuck. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay.
Can you improve perfection?
And he can block one of our littles now. Alright, not excited how this is playing out anymore. I think the way we have to approach this is we can hit for like 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to beam this thing. We just have to hope he whiffs on everything as far as the Zevi's concerned. He's drawn so many cards with this. But see a lot of other favorable ways around it. So he's probably got a second one. Why isn't he just going face with those?
Prime and ready. A ticket to the gun show.
Yeah, let's see what we hit, because we got to hit something. Not quite the something we were hoping for. Yeah, that was generated, right? Or does it not say? It doesn't say. That's so strange. He could have gone to face for 6. So, I think here now, we have to just beam his Zevi. I was trying to get away from having to do this, but we can then attack with everything that isn't Ballistic Bot. He has to block
You're boring.
at least 2. And the important thing with hitting Zevi is he has to like lose his units to actually be blocking with them.
Oh, I hear
Right, this is lethal, so he has to block with one more.
Easy, tiger.
So taking to 2. So then it puts him in the must-kill spot, but he's certainly ahead of us on cards. But we have hopefully have the tools to close this out. That was such a good suit up on this thing.
Can you improve perfection?
There it is. Why would he just play this and not do anything?
Rise, metal brethren.
I have to assume that we're just going to close this out here. Beautiful.
I'm always up for a round or two.
All right. Whew. Ooh, close rounds against Teemo. Very close rounds. Nice. Alrighty. Good game, friends. Good games. Let's get this deck list pulled up here. Let's see. Oh man, I've already closed LR Guardian. Can I click it here? There we go. Oh, man, I can't tell if I messed this up. Push the thing, and then it comes up, right? There we go. I never mess anything up, right? This trial is evidence of that, right? I just played 100% perfect the whole way. Absolutely. And so, yeah, nice little 7 winner, a nice little 7-0. And so, yeah, if you're not familiar with the Fishbones, it's one of my favorite card pools. But you know, if this is new to you, you know, this isn't really a champion-centric card pool. This is based on the 1-cost allies between Jagged Taskmaster and Professor Von Yip, and then just putting a big pile of 1-drops into your deck and getting some kind of advantage out of these. And so, yeah, to kind of quickly go through this and talk about some of the new things, this is the first time I've got to draft it with access to both Armored Gearhead and Ballistic Bot, both of which were very good. I love all of the interactions that show up between the augments and then the other cards that live here, whether or not it's just, you know, something as simple as Poro Cannon or, you know, any of the other, you know, kind of card generation things. Just having some of these kind of side advantages, just not playing a card because it has good stats. You know, these kind of additional stacking advantages we can find are what really kicks your decks from being a you know, a 4 or 5 winner up to a 7 winner, right? We have the opportunity to get multiple avenues of value out of Jack the Winner, which is pretty cool when those things start to show up. And so yeah, like the way I typically look at this and the way I recommend kind of trying to look at it is, you know, Jinx is the kind of champion of choice. This is messed up down here. I think this is just showing whatever champion showed up on the left, but we did take Jinx with both of our second and, or I guess our third and our fourth champion picks. But you know, kind of the way I really like to approach these decks is you do want Jinx, but of course she's not required. This would have been just fine with Fizzes and Twisted Fates. But, you know, the big thing throughout the draft portion is you're going to be looking for the 1-drops. I look for 10. I think 10 feels kind of like the magic number to where you should almost always be starting with 1 in your opening hand. You can really aggressively mulligan your openers for your Taskmasters and your Von Yips and still hit your 1-drops later. And they really play to this theme of just spending all of your mana every single turn of the game. And so, you know, if we're tiering out on the cards that you want, at tier 1, you just have your 1-drops, and then we really look for 10 of them. You know, if you've either hit your 1-drop quota, or if, you know, you're shown a set of packs that don't have 1-drops in it, after that, you're going to be looking for more Von Yips and Taskmasters. I would take Taskmasters over 1-drops. I would not take Von Yips over 1-drops. But, you know, in this kind of tier 2 of things, you're certainly looking for Taskmasters and Von Yips, and then you're looking for your removal spells. And then ideally with your removal spells, they aren't gotcha. We did see a couple times in there, and I did try to call out these spots you can get into where you have a bunch of 4-mana cards in your hand. You're trying to dump your hand out for Jinx, and you just can't do it because there's so much mana there. And so, you know, do be kind of mindful of picking up too many suit-ups and too many Jinxes. You really prefer to have Thermogenic Beams and Mystic Shots and get excited. But you know, a lot of times you can't really pick and choose what removal you get, and you just have to kind of roll with the punches. And so it's something to be wary of. You don't want the expensive ones, you want the cheap ones. But, you know, don't take it for granted that, you know, you have to kind of tier those out. Tier 2 is just the, you know, the kind of removal spells and your engine cards. Then finally at tier 3, you're just going to look for some card draw. That was kind of our side theme before our deck really got rolling. So, Pull Shark, just a great one drop, but then you also have this Black Market Merchant, Pilfered Goods, Fortune Croaker kind of theme to where you can sit around and just draw a whole bunch of cards, refill your board, have more units ready to throw away into your opponent's things, and then just keep trying to go face until you're able to close the game out. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool deck, pretty interesting. I really like this. This is one of my favorite aggro decks. I'm glad we got to showcase it for you all. So, yeah, just be, real mindful of your curve. Don't get too many of these expensive cards. You really want to be able to flip your Jinxes kind of on demand. Be mindful of your one drops. You want about 10, and then after that, just try to fill in with removal spells and card draw. It's one of the kind of more straightforward drafts that you can find, at least in the kind of like game plan. I think, a lot of these are just all messed up down here. This, I think, does it have these backwards? I can't tell. I know we didn't trade out Professor Von Yips for Island Navigators. This all just seems messed up down here. But nonetheless, it's a pretty good guideline on how to follow through with things. You might need to give this a couple drafts on your own to really get a feeling for which of these cards are better than others. But on a really high level, that should get you that kind of game plan should get you pretty far. But that is going to do it for this trial. I think that is it for us today. Labs are the only thing that's kind of shiny here. I don't think that we have any more rewards until the weekly vault is ready to come out. So that will be the trial today. I hope you all enjoyed the run. You learned how to put some one drops on the board a little bit better, maybe even learned how to attack with them. Then you had a good time watching and maybe had an educational moment or two. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.